Genesis chapter 20. Now Abraham journeyed from there to the region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While he was staying in Gerar, Abraham said of his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." So Abimelech, king of Gerar, had Sarah brought to him. One night, however, God came to Abimelech in a dream and told him, "You are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken, for she is a married woman." Now Abimelech had not gone near her, so he replied, "Lord, would you destroy a nation even though it is innocent? Didn't Abraham tell me, 'She is my sister'? And she herself said, 'He is my brother.' I have done this in the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands." Then God said to Abimelech in the dream, "Yes, I know that you did this with a clear conscience, and so I have kept you from sinning against me. That is why I did not let you touch her. Now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet. He will pray for you, and you will live. But if you do not restore her, be aware that you will surely die, you and all who belong to you." Early the next morning Abimelech got up and summoned all his servants, and when he described to them all that had happened, the men were terrified. Then Abimelech called Abraham and asked, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you that you have brought such tremendous guilt upon me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that should not be done." Abimelech also asked Abraham, "What prompted you to do such a thing?" Abraham replied, "I thought to myself, surely there is no fear of God in this place. They will kill me on account of my wife. Besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. So when God had me journey from my father's house, I said to Sarah, 'This is how you can show your loyalty to me. Wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother.' So Abimelech brought sheep and cattle, men servants and maidservants, and he gave them to Abraham and restored his wife Sarah to him. And Abimelech said, 'Look, my land is before you. Settle wherever you please.' And he said to Sarah, 'See, I am giving your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is your vindication before all who are with you. You are completely cleared.' Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maidservants, so that they could again bear children. For on account of Abraham's wife Sarah, the Lord had completely closed all the wombs in Abimelech's household. Genesis chapter 21. Now the Lord attended to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. So Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised. And Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore to him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Then Sarah said, "God has made me laugh, and everyone who hears of this will laugh with me." She added, "Who would have told Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age." So the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham held a great feast on the day Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham was mocking her son, and she said to Abraham, "Expel the slave woman and her son, for the slave woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac." Now this matter distressed Abraham greatly, because it concerned his son Ishmael. But God said to Abraham, "Do not be distressed about the boy and your maidservant. Listen to everything that Sarah tells you, for through Isaac your offspring will be reckoned. But I will also make a nation of the slave woman's son, because he is your offspring." Early in the morning Abraham got up, took bread and a skin of water, put them on Hagar's shoulders, and sent her away with the boy. She left and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she left the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went off and sat down nearby, about a bowshot away, for she said, "I cannot bear to watch the boy die." And as she sat nearby, she lifted up her voice and wept. Then God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven, "What is wrong, Hagar? Do not be afraid, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he lies. Get up, lift up the boy, and take him by the hand, for I will make him into a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. So she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew up and settled in the wilderness and became a great archer. And while he was dwelling in the wilderness of Paran, his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me here before God that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or descendants. Show to me and to the country in which you reside the same kindness that I have shown to you. And Abraham replied, I swear it. But when Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well that Abimelech's servants had seized, Abimelech replied, I do not know who has done this. You did not tell me, so I have not heard about it until today. So Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. Abraham separated 7 ewe lambs from the flock, and Abimelech asked him, Why have you set apart these 7 ewe lambs? He replied, You are to accept the 7 ewe lambs from my hand as my witness that I dug this well. So that place was called Beersheba, because it was there that the two of them swore an oath. After they had made the covenant at Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, got up and returned to the land of the Philistines. And Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called upon the name of the Lord, the eternal God. And Abraham resided in the land of the Philistines for a long time. Genesis chapter 22. Some time later, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. Here I am, he answered. Take your son, God said, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah. Offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains, which I will show you. So Abraham got up early the next morning, saddled his donkey, and took along 2 of his servants and his son Isaac. He split the wood for a burnt offering and set out for the place God had designated. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Stay here with the donkey, Abraham told his servants. The boy and I will go over there to worship, and then we will return to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac. He himself carried the fire and the sacrificial knife, and the 2 of them walked on together. Then Isaac said to his father Abraham, My father. Here I am, my son, he replied. The fire and the wood are here, said Isaac, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. And the 2 walked on together. When they arrived at the place God had designated, Abraham built the altar there and arranged the wood. He bound his son Isaac and placed him on the altar atop the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. Just then the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy or do anything to him, said the angel, for now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your only son from me. Then Abraham looked up and saw behind him a ram in a thicket caught by its horns. So he went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham called that place, The Lord will provide. So to this day it is said, On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham from heaven a 2nd time, saying, By myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your only son, I will surely bless you, and I will multiply your descendants like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will possess the gates of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations of the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. Abraham went back to his servants, and they got up and set out together for Beersheba. And Abraham settled in Beersheba. Some time later, Abraham was told, Milcah has also borne sons to your brother Nahor, Uz the firstborn, his brother Buz, Kemuel, the father of Aram, Kesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. And Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 sons to Abraham's brother Nahor. Moreover, Nahor's concubine, whose name was Rumah, bore Teba, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah. Genesis chapter 23. Now Sarah lived to be 127 years old. She died in Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went out to mourn and to weep for her. Then Abraham got up from beside his dead wife and said to the Hittites, I am a foreigner and an outsider among you. Give me a burial site among you so that I can bury my dead. The Hittites replied to Abraham, Listen to us, sir, you are God's chosen one among us. Bury your dead in the finest of our tombs. None of us will withhold his tomb for burying your dead. Then Abraham rose and bowed down before the people of the land, the Hittites. If you are willing for me to bury my dead, he said to them, listen to me and approach Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf to sell me the cave of Machpelah that belongs to him. It is at the end of his field. Let him sell it to me in your presence for full price, so that I may have a burial site. Now Ephron was sitting among the sons of Heth. So in the presence of all the Hittites who had come to the gate of his city, Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham, No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead. Again Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and said to Ephron in their presence, If you will please listen to me, I will pay you the price of the field. Accept it from me so that I may bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, Listen to me, my lord, the land is worth 400 shekels of silver. But what is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Abraham agreed to Ephron's terms and weighed out for him the price he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver according to the standard of the merchants. So Ephron's field at Machpelah near Mamre, the cave that was in it, and all the trees within the boundaries of the field were deeded over to Abraham's possession in the presence of all the Hittites who had come to the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field at Machpelah near Mamre, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So the field and its cave were deeded by the Hittites to Abraham as a burial site. Genesis chapter 24. By now Abraham was old and well along in years, and the Lord had blessed him in every way. So Abraham instructed the chief servant of his household, who managed all he owned, Place your hand under my thigh, and I will have you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I am dwelling, but will go to my country and my kindred to take a wife for my son Isaac. The servant asked him, What if the woman is unwilling to follow me to this land? Shall I then take your son back to the land from which you came? Abraham replied, Make sure that you do not take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who brought me from my father's house and my native land, who spoke to me and promised me on oath, saying, To your offspring I will give this land, he will send his angel before you so that you can take a wife for my son from there. And if the woman is unwilling to follow you, then you are released from this oath of mine. Only do not take my son back there. So the servant placed his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham and swore an oath to him concerning this matter. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed with all manner of good things from his master in hand. And he set out for Nahor's hometown in Aram Naharaim. As evening approached, he made the camels kneel down near the well outside the town at the time when the women went out to draw water. O Lord, God of my master Abraham, he prayed, please grant me success today and show kindness to my master Abraham. Here I am, standing beside the spring, and the daughters of the townspeople are coming out to draw water. Now may it happen that the girl to whom I say, Please let down your jar that I may drink, and who responds, Drink, and I will water your camels as well, let her be the one you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I will know that you have shown kindness to my master. Before the servant had finished praying, Rebekah came out with her jar on her shoulder. She was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor. Now the girl was very beautiful, a virgin who had not had relations with any man. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came up again. So the servant ran to meet her and said, Please let me have a little water from your jar. Drink, my lord, she replied, and she quickly lowered her jar to her hands and gave him a drink. After she had given him a drink, she said, I will also draw water for your camels until they have had enough to drink. And she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran back to the well to draw water until she had drawn water for all his camels. Meanwhile, the man watched her silently to see whether or not the Lord had made his journey a success. And after the camels had finished drinking, he took out a gold ring weighing a beka and 2 gold bracelets for her wrists weighing 10 shekels. "Whose daughter are you?" he asked. "Please tell me, is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night?" She replied, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son that Milcah bore to Nahor." Then she added, "We have plenty of straw and feed, as well as a place for you to spend the night." Then the man bowed down and worshipped the Lord, saying, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not withheld his kindness and faithfulness from my master. As for me, the Lord has led me on the journey to the house of my master's relatives." The girl ran and told her mother's household about these things. Now Rebekah had a brother named Laban, and he rushed out to the man at the spring. As soon as he saw the ring and the bracelets on his sister's wrists and heard Rebekah's words, "The man said this to me," he went and found the man standing by the camels near the spring. "Come, you who are blessed by the Lord," said Laban. "Why are you standing out here? I have prepared the house and a place for the camels." So the man came to the house, and the camels were unloaded. Straw and feed were brought to the camels, and water to wash his feet and the feet of his companions. Then a meal was set before the man, but he said, "I will not eat until I have told you what I came to say." So Laban said, "Please speak." "I am Abraham's servant," he replied. "The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become rich. He has given him sheep and cattle, silver and gold, men servants and maidservants, camels and donkeys. My master's wife Sarah has borne him a son in her old age, and my master has given him everything he owns. My master made me swear an oath and said, 'You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I dwell, but you shall go to my father's house and to my kindred to take a wife for my son.' Then I asked my master, 'What if the woman will not come back with me?' And he told me, 'The Lord, before whom I have walked, will send his angel with you and make your journey a success, so that you may take a wife for my son from my kindred and from my father's house. And when you go to my kindred, if they refuse to give her to you, then you will be released from my oath.' So when I came to the spring today, I prayed, 'O Lord, God of my master Abraham, if only you would make my journey a success. Here I am, standing beside this spring. Now if a maiden comes out to draw water, and I say to her, "Please let me drink a little water from your jar," and she replies, "Drink, and I will draw water for your camels as well," may she be the woman the Lord has appointed for my master's son." And before I had finished praying in my heart, there was Rebekah coming out with her jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew water. So I said to her, "Please give me a drink." She quickly lowered her jar from her shoulder and said, "Drink, and I will water your camels as well." So I drank, and she also watered the camels. Then I asked her, "Whose daughter are you?" She replied, "The daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore to him." So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her wrists. Then I bowed down and worshipped the Lord, and I blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who led me on the right road to take the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you will show kindness and faithfulness to my master, tell me, but if not, let me know, so that I may go elsewhere." Laban and Bethuel answered, "This is from the Lord, we have no choice in the matter. Rebekah is here before you. Take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son, just as the Lord has decreed." When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed down to the ground before the Lord. Then he brought out jewels of silver and gold, and articles of clothing, and he gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious gifts to her brother and her mother. Then he and the men with him ate and drank and spent the night there. When they got up the next morning, he said, "Send me on my way to my master." But her brother and mother said, "Let the girl remain with us 10 days or so. After that she may go." But he replied, "Do not delay me, since the Lord has made my journey a success. Send me on my way so that I may go to my master." So they said, "We will call the girl and ask her opinion." They called Rebekah and asked her, "Will you go with this man?" "I will go," she replied. So they sent their sister Rebekah on her way, along with her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you become the mother of thousands upon thousands. May your offspring possess the gates of their enemies." Then Rebekah and her servant girls got ready, mounted the camels, and followed the man. So the servant took Rebekah and left. Now Isaac had just returned from Beer-lahai-roi, for he was living in the Negev. Early in the evening, Isaac went out to the field to meditate, and looking up he saw the camels approaching. And when Rebekah looked up and saw Isaac, she got down from her camel and asked the servant, "Who is that man in the field coming to meet us?" "It is my master," the servant answered. So she took her veil and covered herself. Then the servant told Isaac all that he had done. And Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and took Rebekah as his wife. And Isaac loved her and was comforted after his mother's death.